Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Thomas Fans YouTube channel, and I'm now going to talk about Smackdown. Now, the first thing I want to talk about, because I want to get it off my chest for a good and a bad reason, is this segment. See, we were told Smackdown tonight in Nashville, Tennessee, we will get special guest Jelly Roll. Now this could mean many things. He's a celebrity, so it could just mean a segment, a sponsor, a music performance, or something in ring. Now, when he came out, it was a music performance. He was performing Liar, and I kind of liked it. I thought, you know what, this is mad for SmackDown, but I love it. You know what, I love Jelly Roll. Just the amount of songs, you know what it is, I don't even listen to Jelly Roll himself. The amount of songs I've heard him featured on, I became a fan, right? And I love him. And he was performing the song, and then Logan Paul interrupts him. And Logan Paul says, you know, it's a disgrace that these outsiders get to come in and you know, all these influencers, celebrities come into this real business. This is a respected business, and Jelly Roll should respect it. Now, obviously, this is ironic because this is exactly the criticism Logan Paul gets, rightly so, right? I don't think the criticism is toward criticism. God, I don't think the criticism is towards Logan Paul, but I think the criticism is more towards the idea of Logan Paul. In my personal opinion, that's what I think. And it's nothing against Logan Paul in the business. Logan Paul can be a dickhead sometimes. But I think him being a celebrity and being in WWE, sometimes it just rubs people the wrong way because it doesn't seem right, and it messes with a bit, right? So obviously Logan poked fun at that being the heel, doing, you know, calling Jelly Roll out for the obvious thing that he does. And that's, you know, this is awkward because, first of all, we're enjoying the music performance, don't you dare interrupt it. But then also, like, I don't know why else, really. Why else was it awkward? Oh, that's why it's awkward. It's awkward because they're friends. Well, not friends, but like, Jelly Roll was on Logan Paul's podcast and they were having a great conversation about WWE as well. So that made it a bit awkward. Then Randy Orton came out, screaming down the mic at Logan Paul. Now, I know the history, Randy Orton is one of the most respected wrestlers in history. So it would make sense. This would make sense, right? And Randy Orton's got nothing to do right now. He just lost King of the Ring tournament. Obviously, he's got this match at Saturday Night's Main Event with Drew McIntyre, but it's just kind of a chuck together match, right? So he starts screaming down the mic at Logan Paul, passionately being like, "Are you joking me? You hypocrite. You are absolutely everything that you've just called Jelly Roll out for." And then this is when the thing with Drew McIntyre happened. When Drew McIntyre came in, hit him with a Claymore kick, security got him out of there. And Jelly Roll was playing his part well, being like, oh, all concerned. He eventually, well, Logan Paul takes advantage while Randy's down and goes to try and put a beat down on him. This is when Jelly Roll throws the mic down, grabs Logan's hand, launches him out the ring, and this leads to a big moment where security remove Logan Paul. Jelly Roll helps Randy Orton up, then Logan Paul smashes all of Jelly Roll's stuff. Now, obviously, they're now building the feud between Logan Paul and Jelly Roll. Here's my issue. If you have Instagram, or you have TikTok, or you have Twitter, I use Instagram. I use TikTok, but not for wrestling news, right? For wrestling news, Instagram, right? Now, I'm not a fan of wrestling news because it's all spoilers, right? When Monday Night Raw or NXT or SmackDown happens, now obviously I'm in the UK, so I watch it the next day. I can't always watch it first thing in the morning. So I often have to go the full day while it's happened with avoiding Instagram to avoid spoilers. Now, I've been on Instagram, and just from them announcing that Jelly Roll has been at SmackDown, it's been leaked that he's making an in-ring debut at SummerSlam, and it's been leaked that he's having a match with Logan Paul. How these things get leaked, I have no clue. A multi-billion-dollar company, and you can't keep a storyline, your most valued thing, a storyline, you can't keep it private. It blows my mind. So the fact that I knew this was going to happen before it happened kind of ruins it for me. And what also kind of ruins it for me is the fact that the celebrities, like, it's hard not to get along with it, but it's hard to get along with it. Because my brain tells me no, because my brain says this is stupid. Logan Paul and Jelly Roll, you know, a YouTuber and a music artist get the spotlight when we have genuine wrestlers who've dedicated their life. It's like that Karrion Kross promo. Karrion Kross is not the only one to say it, though. You know, you've got these wrestlers who've trained all their life, who we've backed for years to finally get somewhere, and then Logan Paul walks in off the YouTube scene and becomes this great star in the WWE. Now, Logan Paul can claim to like wrestling as much as he can. He may like wrestling now, but he came into this business for the business opportunity, for the money, for the view. Like, and not necessarily in an evil way. Like, he's not evil for wanting the money opportunity, but at the same time, it's not like he was a genuine wrestling fan, and you can say he was a wrestling fan as a kid because he had a wrestling belt. Everyone had a wrestling belt as a kid. He wasn't a wrestling fan. He knew nothing about the business. He had people on podcasts to teach him about the business, right? He came into this for a business opportunity, for a money opportunity, for a career opportunity. And then, because he's getting paid to do it, because he is a part of it, he then learns the sport and becomes a fan. That's fine. You're a fan now. You're earning my respect now. But you can't question the hate. You can't. It's not even the hate, it's the criticism. You can't question it, right? And sometimes it's kind of hard. Like Jelly Roll, we know as a fan, but at the same time, it's hard to genuinely believe some of these people, because it's, they're celebrities, they're outsiders, and they're coming into the industry and they're getting all the spotlight from the people who've genuinely worked their whole life. You may have been a fan, but you haven't worked your whole life for this. Jelly Roll, I believe, deserves it more than Logan Paul, because Jelly Roll, we know, has been a fan for years, right? He's been open about that. Logan Paul, before he was in WWE, had no mention of it. Zero, right? So in one way, it rubs us the wrong way, because we're like, we shouldn't like this, because now it's becoming saturated, right? And the fact that Jelly Roll's now getting involved shows there's a chain reaction from Logan Paul. It's going to keep happening. Do you know what I mean? People had this problem with boxing. I mean, boxing, it was a bit different because it was competitive. It was for charity. This is purely storyline based. This is for the love of the fans. Do you know what I mean? Boxing was an actual sport. This is for the love of the fans, and it sort of ruins it. But at the same time, that's what my brain's saying. My heart is loving this. My heart is like, 10 years ago, I would never pictured Logan Paul being in this WWE ring, right? Now I'm used to it. Now I'm seeing Jelly Roll in there, in the same ring as Randy Orton, doing a performance. He's done a performance, fought Logan Paul, and been in the ring with Randy Orton. It's insane, right? And my heart is loving it, and I can't help but think this is actually kind of really sick. Like, it genuinely is sick. Like, imagine where it could lead, who it could have in there, right? It's just hard to get behind it because of what it is, do you know what I mean? But it's fine. And then the reveal backstage that, Jelly Roll's going to be in Randy Orton's corner at Saturday night's main event, because Jelly Roll doesn't trust what Logan Paul might try and do, which is fair. And I think they're obviously going to set up a SummerSlam match here between Jelly Roll and Logan Paul, or maybe a tag team match, Randy Orton and Jelly Roll against Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul, which I think people would absolutely kick off with. I think people would rather have Logan Paul versus Jelly Roll. And to be honest, this might actually be better, because it's like, you're not having a celebrity beat a wrestler, you're having a celebrity beat a celebrity. It's fair game. That might be better. Maybe we need more celebrities to make it its own kind of division. Do you know what I mean? Not to segregate them to a division, but kind of like, not ruin the wrestlers. Get what I mean? Yeah, but I've talked a bit about that segment, Let's talk about the opening segment. The opening segment was LA Knight coming out. Now, obviously, he has the feud with Seth freaking Rollins on Monday Night Raw, but he's come to SmackDown because that is his brand. This is when Paul Heyman's come out to obviously argue with him, but Paul Heyman being on SmackDown means Solo Sikoa comes out. Solo Sikoa's here with all his, what we're calling them, MFTs, with his US Championship, and he said, LA Knight, I'll be the guy that beat you for the title. Paul Heyman, last time you were here, you just ruined everything. There's no more bloodline, there's no more tribal chief, there's no more wise man. And they said, you better get out of here before we beat you up. And obviously Paul Heyman, not being the fighter, ran out of the building, left the building. And they said, LA Knight would suggest you do the same. Obviously he didn't. He stood his ground. He's LA Knight. He picks a fight with absolutely everybody. That's when Jimmy Uso slid the chair in and he's there to fight them. This leads to the main event match. The main event match being Jimmy Uso and LA Knight against Solo Sikoa and I believe it was JC Mateo. That was the main event. Which is like, okay. I mean, that happens most of the time. On SmackDown now is the main event, is a tag team match chucked together. And I suppose it's to promote the US title match the next night and LA Knight's feud with Saturday night's main event. Let's talk about how that main event match went. I mean, towards the end of it, Paul Heyman started distracting LA Knight, but that's when Jimmy Uso rolled up Solo Sikoa and pinned Solo Sikoa, which is good for tomorrow night, because now there's a bit of suspense knowing Jimmy can pin Solo, but we all know Jimmy's not going to pin Solo tomorrow night, but he pinned him in the tag team match. And although they got chased out there by Solo and his MFTs, Jimmy did, Solo was kind of like, Paul Heyman just cost me. So it's like, was Paul Heyman costing LA Knight, or was he costing Solo Sikoa, or was he out there to screw them both? because he was. But Paul Heyman was there for a reason, and that was to bring Braun and Bronson. And Braun and Bronson beat up LA Knight to close the show, leading to the Saturday night's main event match tomorrow, which I'll give my prediction to that in the predictions video for Saturday night's main event. So yeah, I mean, you know, it is what it is. It's filler. It's main event. Most of the things that the episode before are filler. Not one thing that wasn't filler, that's actually been a feud building for the last few weeks. R-Truth, Aleister Black. Now Aleister Black's constantly being interrupted by R-Truth because R-Truth's trying to make his name known. He's saying it, I'm driving now, put some respect on his name. And he was wrestling way better. He was competitive. Normally R-Truth would be squashed by someone like this, and he was competitive with Aleister Black, and he actually beat Aleister Black, which was the biggest surprise. The biggest surprise wasn't that he was being competitive. You know, I knew WWE were going to do that because, you know, they're trying to build him up as someone who needs to be taken more seriously and he can actually defend himself and compete. But I didn't expect him to win. But he did win by roll-up, which is fine because it means, you know, there's no discredit to Aleister Black. That's when Aleister Black chased him backstage and Damian Priest stepped in like, no, leave it. And he went, okay, I will. And he attacked Damian Priest because I think really what they're doing is they're going to build this off into Aleister Black versus Damian Priest, who can both handle themselves in a great match in the ring. They need something to do with both of them while they can't put them in title divisions. So that will be a banging feud and a banging match. I think also they just need to put some credibility on R-Truth's name. God knows where they'll go with him next, but my guy's in his 50s. And that was the quickest I've ever seen him move. So he's still got some potential, and I didn't mind that. That was one of my favourite parts of the show, if I'm being completely honest. What else did we have? We did have a fatal four-way match. Obviously, one member from each of the teams competing in a women's tag team match. We had Alexa Bliss, who had Charlotte Flair in her corner. We had Roxanne Perez, one half of the women's tag team champions. We had Sol Ruka, the NXT Women's North American Champion. And we had Kairi Sane. Winning the match was Alexa Bliss, which I'm surprised by. I mean, I'm not surprised because she is the biggest star there, but I kind of thought Roxanne Perez would win being one half of the tag team champions, but I think they don't want to do that and have them retain, and I think they probably will have them retain. So they needed the biggest star, they needed the biggest reaction. So I'm glad they didn't pin Sol Ruka though, because she is a champion, and she did get a time to shine. I mean, let's be honest, while she's on SmackDown, you know, she's normally an NXT superstar, so while she's on SmackDown, she took her spotlight and she ran with it. She did her moments. She had her moments where the crowd were like, whoa. Hitting the Soul Snatcher on SmackDown on two people are going to be like, okay, who is this, and can we bring them up to the main roster if they don't already watch NXT? That was a great match. The finish was a bit botched. Again, Kairi Sane still botching. Don't know why. Kairi Sane used to be so insane in the ring, like, no pun intended, like genuinely, and she's just messing up a lot. I mean, Zoe Stark injury, I mean, it was her fault, but it wasn't her fault, do you know what I mean? And the Liv Morgan one wasn't her fault. But like, even just in matches, she's botching quite a lot, more than Raquel Rodriguez, which is embarrassing, to be honest. And then Raquel Rodriguez had a moment where she beat everyone up. She picked up Zarya stood no chance. She hit the fakest kick on Asuka ever, and then suddenly Charlotte Flair grew the biggest strength in the whole division and threw Raquel Rodriguez over the announce desk, hitting Joe Tessito. But it is what it is. I didn't mind that match. That was actually great. And then we had the tag team match, the title rematch, as the Wyatt Six got cost 2 weeks ago against the Street Profits. They had the rematch, and the Wyatt Six won. The Wyatt Six won the titles. I don't mind this move whatsoever because it's time to change the titles. I thought the Street Profits never needed to be it, really, but I didn't mind it. It wasn't the end of the world. This is going to be a long run with the Wyatt Six as champions. All these tag teams are going to try and take the belts. Street Profits are going to get a rematch. It's not going to happen. DIY, Motor City Machine Guns, Fraction, Los Garzas. And now they've announced Andrade and Rey Fenix as part of the tag team division. And they're officially part of it, the officially tag team, which normally I'd be mad, but I'm not mad at doing that because they're not doing anything with them and they need to. They're really good in-ring talent. They're not the best on the mic, they're not the best as characters. We can see that. In the ring is where them two shine. I think putting them as a tag team where they can actually, in the best tag team division in WWE, is where they'll get the most spotlight and where they'll shine. Perfect move. And I think them versus the Wyatt Six, them versus any tag team, they've already beat two of them, so I think they're next in line anyway. It's going to be amazing. Wyatt Six are going to be champions for a long time. They're going to be dominant. It's going to be great storytelling. And do you know what I genuinely hope to do? I hope we get Wyatt Six tag titles, which we do already have. Then I want Eric Rowan for the US title at some point. And then maybe this might be the biggest push, but Uncle Howdy is WWE champion. I don't see why not. If Cody or Punk take the title off of Cena, I don't see somewhere down the line where they don't have a feud with the Wyatt Six and Uncle Howdy can take the belt. I definitely think that's possible. Right now, I think Uncle Howdy kind of looks a bit like a mid-carder, but they can definitely build him up if they just give him some in-ring action. But that was exciting to see. That was a nice refreshment, should I say. What else happened on the show? Nothing WWE title worthy, because John Cena's not here right now. They're probably saving him for SummerSlam, where you'll have a match with Cody Rhodes. I'm just trying to think anything else before I go into the women's WWE title picture. I don't think there was. So eventually, the last thing to talk about was Tiffany Stratton, Trish Stratus. Now this is obviously just a slap together match, and they've literally got nothing to do. Even when they announced it, they had nothing to do. They had the weirdest promos with Jade Cargill. So they just had them in the ring with an interview with Jade Cargill. They threw a little digs at each other. It meant nothing. Tiffany Stratton talked about VHS tapes, obviously some sex tapes from Trish Stratus there, and Trish Stratus says, "Oh, did you learn that off TikTok?" I don't like how some people are delivering their lines anymore, because they're not delivering them in a way where we can tell what the punchline is, so people aren't getting the best reaction from them. When some of them are actually good punchlines, they're just not delivering it properly. So it was pointless promo again and again. Naomi interrupted them, was about to say, "Watch out, 'cause I've got Money in the Bank," and Jade Cargill beat her up, and basically the whole way they've had Jade Cargill and Naomi feud for, what was it? It was March 1st. So they've had them feud for 4 or 5 months now. And what they've had is just have them scrap every episode of SmackDown. So it is what it is. Enjoyable episode of SmackDown again. In-ring action was great. Segments were fine. No complaints really. I just think filler matches, like, none of them were filler matches. They all had a purpose. But I just think sometimes, like, I'm bored of the tag team matches as the main event. I'm bored of the pointless promos just to promote the match. I know that's what they're for, but, like, make the promo mean something to the story, not just to the match. But yeah, apart from that, like, great episode of SmackDown. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like and subscribe and tune in for my predictions for the Great American Bash and my predictions for Saturday night's main event that are coming tonight. And then tomorrow we'll have reactions to the Great American Bash, reactions to Saturday night's main event, and predictions for Evolution. And then the day after, we'll have reactions to Evolution. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.